Welcome back to Athletes Anonymous presents The Fifth Down, where we talk about all things in the football realm. Today, we're going to be hitting on the Jalen Ramsey deal, the Chicago Bears deal, and just a plethora of rumors that are going around the NFL. But let's get to that intro music. Welcome back to the podcast. I am your co-host, Keone McKeague, and with me, as always, are my longtime friends and co-hosts, Jalen Holston, Nolan Chang. Say what's up to the pod, boys.
What up?
What's going on, fellas? We're back.
And
doing
ladies,
it live.
You know,
For ladies.
Guys,
ladies.
ladies.
Any.
Zimzers,
Wow, okay.
they, thems.
Yep.
All
All
the
right.
above.
There's going to, if we do this list, it'll take us literally the next 2 days to get through all of them. But anyway, thank you for joining us here on Athletes Anonymous Presents The Fifth Down. Like I said, this is a segment where we touch on everything in the NFL. There was a lot of news in this last week, Jalen. It's just overwhelming, right?
Free agency, baby.
Starting to hear a bunch of it. I swear this next week is going to be even crazier. So we're going to see a lot of different deals. We're going to start first and foremost with some of the rumors that have been popping up. I'm going to get you guys' kind of buy or sell as far as these rumors in particular. Give me a little bit of that, information on why you think so. But we're going to start with number one. Jimmy Garoppolo potentially headed to Las Vegas to head the Raiders' new weird iteration of a supposed team. I'm going to start with you first, Jalen. Buy or sell on Jimmy Garoppolo going to Vegas?
I could buy that. That seems like a thing they could do because for some reason people think Jimmy Garoppolo is a starting quarterback in this league, and he clearly is not. They literally do better every time he doesn't play. So, yeah, I could see the
facts.
Raiders being dumb enough to buy into that. I mean, Jesus, they signed Jamarcus Russell out of LSU, and he stole money from that organization. So, here we are. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you're damn right. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So, man, we're going to spit it over to you, Nolan. Las Vegas Raiders, GBG.
I will
Yes,
also
no?
buy it. He has enough weapons to make himself relevant in that system. So,
That's true.
He had a decent offensive core with the Niners. So it's just up to him. I mean, they've survived this long with Derek Carr as their fucking trash-ass quarterback. What's wrong with having Jimmy G replace him now? Let's get on with it, man.
Whoa, that guy just signed 4 years, $120 million.
For the montage, fuck you, Derek Carr.
Gotta keep it real. in
On
the
this
streets,
next
man.
one, we're going to do buy or sell on somebody who's, I'm sure, near and dear to your heart, Nolan. This one might sting a little bit, but Baker Mayfield possibly on his way out of LA over to Tampa to replace the retired Tom Brady. Buying or selling this rumor, Nolan, what do you think?
I would sell it. I think the Rams, they didn't do terrible with them finishing off the season for them last year. Yes, he is a controversial player, to say the least, for whatever you want to call it. But, I mean, the fact that Matthew Stafford was piss poor for this season portion that he played, it doesn't hurt to have Baker Mayfield. And, if Baker's willing to come back and probably not start if they just go with Stafford as their, veteran QB. If Stafford's not showing up, Baker Mayfield has an opportunity to just step in there. You have a brilliant receiver in Cup who's probably going to be ready for the start of the season. And, they just got Hunter Long, too.
Who's that?
I'm going to throw it over to you,
I just wanted
Jay.
to give something before.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
You can laugh all you want, Nolan, okay? But I'm selling that because I do think that Baker Mayfield with Sean McVay is a dynamite duo, and he's going to save your LA Rams. They will become relevant once again, just like he did with the Browns before that entire
Was it me
whatever
or
the
did
hell
Jalen
happened.
say this contradicting, even though I said the exact same thing he said?
No, You were like, oh, I'm going to say that who was that guy's name? You just said Hunter something.
I was
Biden,
just
hopefully.
playing into the trade that we.
Hunter Long, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the tight end.
But it was hinted with sarcasm, like you've lost hope. Okay, I'm here to tell you, your LA Rams will be winners again if Baker ends up being the starting QB with Sean McVay with a full off season. That guy is a whisperer of sorts. Okay, and I do think
we still have
the
Ben
things we
Jefferson
saw.
and
Yes,
Robinson. Did Robinson come back?
Yep, he was injured, but he'll be back.
Trying to let him go somewhere else.
Even if they do, I mean, they can still get some good receivers.
This is what I was going to say. It was like the only thing that's possibly killing this dream that you guys are talking about with Baker staying with the LA Rams is it seems that LA is becoming sellers. They've let Jalen Ramsey go now, which we'll get to eventually. They let Leonard Floyd walk in free agency. They seem to be selling off a lot of their assets, which will be interesting to see what they do because, I mean, they still do have Cooper Kupp, who is, one of the top receivers in the league, and they still do have technically Matt Stafford on the roster. So I'm just very curious to see what direction they head into, and I think this next week will be very telling about where we're going here because if that rumor is true to me, it sounds like maybe they may have told him, like, hey, we don't want to win. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, the next kind of rumored one that Jay, he was on your fantasy team. It's so curious to me why this would even be a rumor, but supposedly it's getting hotter and hotter as the days go on. Derrick Henry possibly on the trade block for the Tennessee Titans. Buying or selling first and foremost, and, elaborate your thoughts on Derrick Henry being on the trade block.
At this point, I kind of got to buy it. I still don't understand. Like, he is the entirety of what your franchise is. You have a game managing quarterback. You're not going to sit here and tell me that Ryan Tannehill is going to go win you an AFC championship. Like, you're not. Like, he hasn't shown any capability of doing so, whether it was in Miami or right now in Tennessee. Like, the kid is not, he's not that guy. Like, there's no way. And even with AJ Brown, like, they still were pretty mundane and predictable offense. It was we run the ball, we do one big shot to AJ Brown. And that is their offense. That is it. There was any kind of special formula there. Yep. Like all Ryan Tannehill had to do was just like not throw 10 interceptions and you win the game. Like that's Mike Vrabel from the good old Patriot ways back when Bill Belichick had those stud defenses. Like that's how they play the game. And so without Derrick Henry, I don't know. They become that they go from this annoying team that could actually make these really intense playoff runs as a defensive-minded football team to literally an average football team, like even somewhat below average, I would say. So I don't understand it, and I had to buy it at this point because it's been so long that it's not like they re-signed him quickly or anything. Yeah. So
it's insane. Swing it over to you, Nolan. Buying or selling Derrick Henry being on the trade block?
I'm buying it. I think at least for as long as I've followed the NFL. Spurts here and there. Derrick Henry has been a name that my friends who follow NFL more religiously has been, injured. He's also just a 6'3" beast, force to be reckoned with. And so, I mean, I don't know, obviously, the background of how NFL teams may work, front office and everything like that, but it could just be like they're cutting their losses because they haven't been able to do anything fruitful with him at this point. So why not? Give him an opportunity somewhere else and get something in return. So I'm buying it.
Going off the cuff a little bit for both of you, is there a team that you would like to see him be traded to that you think could, make use of his legs for the next 5 years, I'd say, before he slowly starts,
Kansas City. I'm going to let you sit and simmer on that for a second.
Wow.
You're 1-2 punching with Pacheco and then Derrick Henry. Oh, my God. You'd never seen the Chiefs run the ball that much.
Bro. Do you think they're going to
let the league not let
Juju,
that happen for that Super Bowl? My good Lord.
Tell me that wouldn't be a crazy one. Do you think Chiefs will
re-sign Juju?
I don't think they will. I don't think we need to.
Oh, really?
I really don't. He had some really impactful moments, but like if we're picking and choosing who to re-sign and let go, I think McColl's gone. I don't think we're re-signing Juju. I think we free some of that money up. We give Kadarius Toney a 4-year, maybe $60 million deal. somewhere in that range for what he does. And we kind of move on from there. We're going to have to draft again for linebackers and young defensive players because we just lost Frank Clark to free agency because he wanted more money. And we're trying to free up some more money for Chris Jones. So, no, I don't think we're re-signing Juju. As much as I'd love to keep Juju, like I love that he's on the team. I love what he brings to the team. I think he is a very dynamic possession receiver that we hadn't had.
He was a
in a very
key part
long time.
of that Super Bowl.
He really was. Like I said, he had his moments, but I think like we can move on around from Juju. Like that's not going to hurt us that bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Even though he has said that he would be willing to even a 1 year small deal just to return, but
they could tag him.
It'd be interesting to see if he's willing so much to just take like, I don't know what the equivalent to NFL for vet minimum is as far as like, with NBA and NFL, but if he's willing to, I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
It would have to be somewhere in the 40 to 60 range. I would imagine.
Somewhere
which I
around
don't
there.
know if
Yeah.
we have the cap for what he does. I don't know if we have the cap for it. We'll have to see.
Man, it's going to be so crazy to see what team he lands on. I'm so interested in where he could possibly go. Another team I think I would like to see him play for would be Atlanta, because I think that would be
Chicago.
a hell of a. Jay.
Chicago would help a lot. I'm just saying. Juju, even for 1 year, I think Juju in Chicago would help Justin Fields a lot as a big, solid veteran possession receiver.
That 1-2 with Khalil Herbert would be freaking phenomenal. That would be
agreed.
All right,
and they have some.
Let's get Derrick Henry on the Chicago Bears. Anyway, let's swing it over to Nolan. Did you have Dalvin Cook in fantasy? I felt like you did. No,
Dalvin
maybe that was
Cook, no, I did not.
That might have been Jared, maybe. But anyway, gonna swing it over to you first, Nolan. Dalvin Cook possibly on the trade block now. Minnesota Vikings. There seems to be louder rumors from a lot of the outside organizations that believe that they're taking calls on him. What do you think on the former Pro Bowl running back Dalvin Cook? I mean, are you buying or selling this rumor?
I mean,
for Minnesota, yeah. Sorry.
Who's their RB2?
It was Alexander Mattison.
I mean,
a hell of a pickup in fantasy, by the way. If you ever need a guy who is a handcuff, as they call him, for those, he's a hell of a backup backup running back.
If the Vikings want to kind of reenact what they did this season, especially with the regular season, I don't see them wanting to break up what they have if they think that they can go far with it. So I think that I would sell Dalvin Cook being on the trade block, because if you can keep him there and it's working in the system you have with Kirk Cousins, then why not? I mean, you have a great offensive receiving core, so you might as well do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, do you think, and I don't want to change your opinion, you said sell, correct? Yeah. So
sell.
I was like, do you think that there's a possibility they may be trying to move on so that they can find somebody closer in age with Justin Jefferson, so they can kind of keep the tandem trio with old Kirk Cousins kind of growing
that's
together?
That's what I was going to say, is if they have old Kirk Cousins, then is really youth what they want to aim
Baker
for?
Mayfield to the Minnesota Vikings. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, that would be crazy.
Wow.
But I'm just saying,
a very lateral move there.
If they are trying to go with youth, then keeping Kirk Cousins around is probably one of the things that they should be shipping off,
That was a saying it without saying it. That was a fantastic little dig there, Jay. Anyway, sorry. I agree with you. Going to throw it over to you. Do you think buy or sell on Dalvin Cook possibly being on the trade block for the Minnesota Vikings?
I could see. I have to sell it, because I feel like if they're going to do that, then they would be in a position where they're moving on from everything. That means Kirk Cousins is gone also, which he's not going anywhere. So I don't see why they would be trading off his best asset to then set him back even further from being as mid as he already was. You know what I mean? Because they got exposed as frauds, man. They really did.
Yeah.
They had a great record, and then when it came time to actually play football, they got smacked around and made a fool of by a team that was not nearly as talented as they were at all. So here we are.
Facts, Jay. Facts. We're going to move over to the final kind of headline rumor. for the rumors that we've been doing. Aaron Rodgers supposedly has a Jets deal already in place that from the Green Bay standpoint is waiting on his approval if he would approve being traded to said Jets. Buying or selling Aaron Rodgers deal already waiting for his approval. First over to you, Jay, because I know, supposedly. I guess to you, Nolan, first.
I actually just saw a post that he did a little quick interview from this morning.
He did.
Where he said that, they have to come to a decision and it's coming out soon. So I don't know if it's up to him, it's on him at this point, or if it's whoever is dealing with the paperwork and everything like that in the background. But
there's a lot of stuff that's clouding the information here, because technically speaking, he's on one of those no trade clause type of deals where he would have to approve the trade, because that was a part of that whole what he fought for when he was trying to get his contract in the first place. So this is another one of those things.
Well,
he does technically have to approve it. I think he may be playing a little coy there with the interview. However,
that I think that I'll probably buy it. That it is just up to him, whatever he's ready to do.
Whatever he wants to go, doesn't want to go. Yeah.
In Aaron Rodgers fashion, he makes everyone wait because his life is what we all circle around.
Swinging over to you, Jay. I know you are a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, there go the glasses.
Here we go again.
Buying or selling this fantastic rumor that I'm sure is just making you so happy.
I don't even care, at all, Aaron. I could possibly care less at this point. You should have already been out of the league. You're garbage. You're a shell of your former self. Any legacy you have left, you should have retired in this offseason. Wherever you go now is going to be another poop stain on what little legacy you have in this league, which is one Super Bowl and a couple MVPs. Congratulations. You got no passing records. You got no passer rating records. You got nothing. Nothing.
Tell us how you really feel.
I'll buy that he has to do the approval because somehow, some way, he has all the control over Green Bay's future as a franchise. So I'll buy it. But whatever. God, I can't imagine, you're, the one guy cannot run this org. You know what I mean? Into the ground, essentially. Think about when Brett Favre left. Where that organization was. It was still a very competitive one. It was somewhat rebuilding because, yes, their Hall of Famer, Brett Favre, decided to retire. Then he unretired, got signed with the Jets and the Vikings, and all the whole shebang, right? But here we are with Aaron Rodgers, and this guy comes in who thinks his poop don't stink. He had a couple great seasons. Let's not get it wrong. There's a reason he was Mr. Clutch for a while, right? We still have those memories of him doing some crazy things late in the clock. He was regarded as one of the best late-game QBs in the game, right? That's not you anymore, bro. And at one point, I don't understand where we lost sight of, that as a Green Bay org. I want to know where that got lost at, because you should have cut ties. You should have sat him and gotten a look at Jordan Love. And now you have no idea what that kid can do. You have no hope at any position other than, I think, 1 and 2 wide receivers for your entire franchise. That is it. You're garbage. And it's because this man, you let him control everything. This is the perfect example of why a player should not be running the league. Right there.
It's a fantastic point. It's funny because I was as far as I'm concerned, Aaron Rodgers will always be one of the great quarterbacks because he's fantastic. He could do it. Just managing the clock as a thrower, he was fantastic. Very, very, very talented. Yeah. But this kind of stuff we're getting to levels of Kyrie Irving, where stuff that happens off the court, off the field, just really affects your persona a bit. So it's slowly deteriorating whatever sort of legacy he had going. Yeah. But on the flip side of that, I do want to kind of get you guys' thoughts on the potential of the deal. Do you see it because you'll have a variety of weapons and a Jets defense that's looking to, that's looking absolutely phenomenal. One of the, best secondaries in the league. And we got a lot of weapons for him as far as on the offense, running backs, wide receivers. I mean, there's a lot there. And Juice being a big proprietor of like getting Aaron Rodgers over to the Jets. So I'm curious, for you guys, do you think that this could potentially be something that's better for them? Or do you think that this will end up being a Russell Wilson situation where we kind of get him in a different system and it just all falls to... So Jalen, swing it over to you first. Thoughts?
I think it has the potential to be better than when Brett Favre did it. You know what I mean? But other than that, that's about it, because I just don't – I saw nothing redeeming from Aaron Rodgers this season that makes me think that him going to the Jets is going to save their franchise. I think they got in real trouble with Zach Wilson because they took the combine bait and all that good stuff, and now they're kind of stuck in a really awkward situation because one guy clearly can't be a franchise quarterback because he has no idea how to handle himself, and then the other guy is just not quite as talented but slightly more consistent, I guess, kind of, air quote, a little bit, right? So they don't really have a quarterback answer. I think the Jets are really in a spot where they don't really need to be trading for Aaron Rodgers. Instead, go all in on the young pieces that you already have in place.
Yeah, they got Garrett Wilson, he was offensive player rookie of the year, wasn't he?
Yes,
exactly.
Defensive rookie and offensive rookie on the same team.
You can build around that.
And Garrett Wilson.
You can build around that very easily. So you go in, you try to find one of these later picks in the draft. I think Stetson Bennett would do phenomenal in New York. I think that's your pick because he's not going to go high. You'll have a chance to get him, and he's already mature past the rest of the draft class because he's been in college for 100 years, right? And he has a great arm, great decision making. But seriously, I think that's your guy. Like Stetson Bennett, if you're the New York Jets, is a perfect rookie, air quote, QB for you to step in and kind of get your franchise rolling. That's who they should be playing for, personally.
Yeah, there are fantastic players that they could get potentially in the draft. So
what's their pick in the draft?
It's funny because I was just gonna look that up, but I didn't look it up.
Gotta be top 10.
You just keep talking. How do you feel about the Jets?
I'm with Jalen. We just had this conversation about Minnesota Vikings, if they should bring in some youth to kind of match with Jefferson's youth. Why are you going to bring in old ass Aaron Rodgers to this young group that you have that
for like 2 years
relatively
and then
successful? The Jets had a pretty phenomenal season starting off, and I think that
13th overall is the pick that they have first. Okay. That's their first pick.
They could totally snag like a Stenson Bennett or
I don't.
It's funny because Stetson Bennett is he's probably like 5 or 6 as far as quarterbacks in this draft right now, especially with Anthony Richardson kind of shooting up in the mocks. So it'll be, he's definitely within their range, assuming that none of the other super thirsty quarterback needy teams go and reach really far back for him.
Yeah, I'm with Jalen on this 100%. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is your answer, especially if you're in a win now situation. Like he's not going to be the reason that you're going to win now. If you have such a young group, you might as well start running with a young quarterback so that you can kind of get things rolling as needed. Maybe become a desirable location for free agents in the next season or the next season after that. But just work with what you got. It paid off, and no one really talks about the Jets, but I have a coworker who's following the Jets, and he was elated every time I'd be in the office because he was like, "Hey, see my Jets the other night, blah blah blah." They're not a Super Bowl team, but you have a much better chance if you start building chemistry with some group that can have legs together.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm gonna say that if he puts it all together and can stay away from the off-field drama, the Jets have a hell of a team. I think that they have tremendous potential, that they could possibly be one of the top teams in the league next year. Robert Saleh, what he's been doing with that team has been fantastic. They have a fantastic head coach. They have literally, like we just mentioned, Sauce Gardner, one of, if not the top, corner in the league right now. And then you got potentially, franchise changing Garrett Wilson along with like a bunch of young 1-2 punch-esque running backs there now. I mean, they're building something. And that defense looked phenomenal last year. And it's one of those defenses you absolutely do not want to play on any given day because they cover up the field so well. So it'll be very interesting to see if he does make that turnaround. Because like I said, like Jay said too, and I agree with Jay, last year was not a good showing for him. However, if he does even reach, 70%, and they can get the potential out of him and maybe develop somebody like you had already mentioned. Like I think there's potential for that team to be phenomenal. At least if not next year, in the year after that, potentially. And if it takes a transition quarterback of Aaron Rodgers to kind of maybe mold the next guy after him, which obviously he hasn't really done for Jordan Love, but I
don't think that's in his
drama.
capability.
There was a lot
to
more,
do, honestly.
There was a lot more drama within the Packers
Would you be really willing
True.
to give up pieces for a trade for Aaron Rodgers to use him as a transitional quarterback?
See, that's what I was going to say is I don't think that there's going to be much in the trade. I mean, as far as trade markets for
just the money,
QBs are concerned,
lines up.
Really, because I was going to say, really, it comes down to how much are the Jets willing to absorb. If they're willing to absorb majority of that contract in guaranteed money, I'm sure it's going to possibly be maybe a third and a fifth, or you know what I mean? Like it's going to be very assets that we've seen being traded for guys like Jalen Ramsey, who I thought was going to get much more in the trade. However,
we'll get to that though.
That's a perfect transition into our next topic. I'm not sure if Jay is even here because it looks like he's frozen on his screen.
No, mine's fine. I see him.
I'm
Oh,
frozen.
you do see him. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
good.
I was like, on mine,
You're good to go,
just,
Jalen.
it's literally
Thank
just you
God.
doing this. So I was like, oh god, that's okay. Good. Jay's still here. It might just be the camera. We'll see. Hopefully,
Probably just
it's
my
good
camera.
on your end recording. Anyway, so we're gonna swing it over into the Jalen Ramsey deal. Jalen Ramsey being traded to the Miami Dolphins for a third-round pick, which is number 77, and tight end Hunter Long. I mean,
Wow. Really fleeced
can
him
you
there,
just?
huh?
I'm gonna start with you first, Nolan, because this is your team. Like we'd mentioned previously, potentially Baker Mayfield on his way out. Leonard Floyd has already been released. They have Jalen Ramsey now out on his way out from the team. They're possibly not re-signing Allen Robinson. I've heard that he's not going to be getting a deal from them. I mean, what are your thoughts on kind of this pseudo rebuild direction that the Los Angeles Rams may be heading for?
Man, at least one LA team knows how to trade. I don't understand what.
You're right. Yeah.
Look,
Just the
One team was the winner of the trade deadline. This team may be on the loser side.
Jalen is a solid cornerback. Last season was not his best season by any stretch of the imagination.
Was not. No.
But I don't understand why the Rams were willing to roll over. This had to be the first offer, and they're like, yeah, we'll take it. Cool. You could have dug for so much more. This is a Super Bowl winning cornerback for your team that was pivotal in that Super Bowl run. Mm-hmm. And now it's, we can just get rid of him for a third round pick and a backup tight end. So I don't see what
I will give him this. Hunter Long is a fantastic blocking tight end.
Because we have Higbee right now?
Yeah, but it is one of those moves where you're just like, what?
like the amount they
it's
could
you
have
traded
gutted from
Royce
the
O'Neal
Dolphins.
for Dorian Finney-Smith.
Like you could have got Waddle. You could have gotten
something.
You know what I mean? Like something big. Like it's Jalen Ramsey, right? We're talking about a guy that was all pro defensive player. Like we're talking supposed to be a
Probably
top tier cornerback.
Yeah, probably the top for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Wasn't quite Darrell Revis levels, but I mean he was
yeah.
good.
I mean, boy, nobody is Darrell Revis levels.
I don't understand what they were doing with this. And this circles back to, are they getting rid of Baker, or Baker's going to be able to sign with Tampa? And we're just doing this whole reset. Man, like you got Cooper Kupp, and he's not getting any younger.
I think it's unfair for me to say it's a reset because technically they do still have Cooper Kupp. They do still have Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's still a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yes,
he's still. I still am on record as saying he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks because for a long time he along with Megatron was the Detroit Lions. However, he is older now.
Yeah, he's like, 37 now. 30.
Yeah.
He is 37, I believe. And it's not just that it's the injury that he got. Like, we're talking about a dude that might, you know what I mean? Like how much are you really willing to risk? And then his wife also having cancer as well and him having to deal with that. Like,
yes. Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if we see like an article flash up that says breaking Matt Stafford decides to retire from football. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
That's a fantastic point. Yeah.
You know, like that's it's just a good time to kind of maybe do that full reset on the whole match. Like he got his ring that he so rightfully deserved.
Bring back Baker.
And hopefully you bring back Baker, but if not, like you can still get a great quarterback in the market right now. Like there's plenty floating around.
Fantastic point. Yeah, it's I mean, also, I mean, speaking on the Miami Dolphins side of this, I think I'll just throw it over to you, Jay. What are your thoughts on Jalen Ramsey now being a part of, a very solid secondary now? They have him and Xavier. I always forget if it's Xavier or Xavier. I think it's Xavier Howard. But one of the top, corner duos we're going to have out there. I mean, what are your thoughts on him joining what is becoming a slowly up and coming, or not slowly, sorry, excuse me. They're definitely up and coming, a rising Miami Dolphins team.
I think the Dolphins are suffering from what a lot of teams in the league are suffering from, which is the name brand issue, right? They went and got Tyreek Hill, they got Jalen Waddle, now they got Jalen Ramsey, like all this stuff, right? But it's going to amount to literally nothing because unless they can put it together and get past Buffalo and Josh Allen, which is surprising to me because he's Josh Allen and finds ways to lose games.
Full circle with Jalen. Always
they did it once, though. They did beat
just
him
the
last
once.
year.
Yeah,
that
once.
moment where
sometimes
Tua
one is all
literally
it
give him
takes.
the little
just once.
Yeah,
give him the little you would have got it, buddy.
And that's the other issue is Tua, because you can't consistently keep Tua healthy. So like you have O-line issues you need to address.
Well, this kind of goes back to our last pod where we said they might be looking to move on from Tua now.
Yep. No, and they did sign Jalen Ramsey's extension. So they are locked in for a lot of money for Jalen Ramsey.
So they're banking on defense, which makes me think you can get an average Joe that can game manage at quarterback, even with Tyreek Hill and all these weapons.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine. Right. And
also a fantastic head coach.
Fantastic head coach.
One of the top young head coaches.
Visionary, young, blah, 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 whatever. And McDaniel. But, yeah, I don't. They're going to be that flavor of the month, right? Because everyone was riding them high when they got Tyreek Hill, and then they fizzled out. And I think it's just going to be the same way
Dolphins
again.
Flags, jerseys, stickers.
Everywhere.
I'm going to see it the next year.
Everywhere.
Good Lord.
So
I know one hardcore Miami Dolphins fan, and I know he is elated right now. Shout out to you, Jim. But I know for a fact there's going to be so many fake ones that pop up after they put it together. Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway. Fantastic points, boys. I think we said everything we need to say. We're going to move on to our pseudo team because both of us do have other teams. Kansas City,
and me by association because
Pittsburgh.
my dad is a Bears fan.
There we go.
Yes.
Los Angeles. See all three. Trio of pseudo fans. The Chicago Bears pulled the trigger on their number one overall pick.
Bears.
I'm not going to speak for either of you. I'm going to let you guys kind of break it down as you see fit. Trade with the Carolina Panthers, get the 2023 ninth overall, so first round, the 61st, second round, 2024 first round, 2025 second round, and wide receiver DJ Moore, the number one wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. Jay, I said I would start with you.
Woo.
So I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts? Is there a winner or loser for this trade? Do you think anybody wins or loser?
Definitely. The craziest part about this trade is that the Carolina Panthers as an organization are so god awful. They might have the number 1 pick again. And next year,
they will give the number 1 overall pick to next year's
and then they
draft.
could do it all over again because they're so god awful.
Could you imagine, Jay?
Like, there's a legitimate scenario, man. I think that's the craziest part for me. But if you want to take notes on how to properly fleece
skipping
a team,
the rebuild for Chicago,
they said, give me them picks, give me your best receiver, so our boy Justin has somebody to throw to. And now we're going to be golden because they got a really solid young tight end in Kmet. I think that guy is so slept on
I liked
for what
Kmet.
he did.
He
was
fantastic. Definitely held it down.
Very solid guy like that with Justin Fields. You got great running backs. Now you got a real number 1 wide receiver. Defense, I think, still has some ways to go considering it's Chicago, right? We're used to a very dominant kind of defense.
Still wish we never got rid of Khalil Mack, but,
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Got old,
Yeah.
I see a scenario where Frank Clark ends up in Chicago for sure. That would be great, I think, for that to bolster that defense for a couple of years
that's a hot
and then
take,
tutor
that
a young
would be absolutely
linebacker.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, they can afford him, I think. So we'll see where
they traded away Roquan Smith. I just remembered
we did trade him. It was not good. But yeah, I think Bears definitely got the great end on that one. Panthers literally lost everything and have nothing to surround whatever that number 1 pick is gonna.
2 first.
I mean, what are you gonna give them now? You traded DJ. So if you're going to quarterback, you traded DJ Moore, and if you're going wide receiver, you don't have a quarterback. So they really did though. Unless they're going to pull like a Kansas City Chiefs from a couple years ago and draft like a left tackle or something crazy. You know what I mean? Like with Eric Fisher.
If
like
they do that.
I don't know. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, what are you doing?
Lord.
Unless they're thinking they can trade it again for somebody else to take to then
next year
get some picks back. Maybe that's the move there.
I'm not even sure how that works. Like, I don't know if there's like, Steph Curry rule where you do back to back or like, you know what I'm saying? Like where there's certain things that can't be traded or if like there's a 60-day rule where they can't trade the pick right away or whatever. But I mean, either way, this was an absolute fleece. It's insane to me. But Nolan, I'm going to swing it over to you, not just on the trades, because obviously fantastic trade for the Chicago Bears, but on the flip side for the Chicago Bears, they are riding with Justin Fields as their quarterback of the future. They've traded, obviously, away the pick, and they got the number 9. Fantastic spot for them to be in. With a lot of quarterback-needy teams at the top of the draft, they also have – basically, there are a lot of big names for other positions that are falling down the draft because of those
I already
teams.
have an idea of what I think they should get. I think they need to pick up something to bolster their O-line so they can protect Justin Fields now that he has such a great receiving core. And we've talked about it this whole last season. Justin Fields has been a very mobile quarterback, and you're going to turn his knees into freaking pulled pork if you don't protect him a little more. So if you're going to take this season as, starting off, see what you can do with now your offense, protect him. Protect him as much as you can. If your defense suffers this year, okay. You've never been a great defensive team. But at the same time, if you know your bread and butter and your young core is coming from the offensive end, you might as well protect your assets. And I just think if there's I don't know what O-lines or O-linemen are available around the 9th pick, but if there's one that is substantial, you might as well give it a go, because I think that's going to be the biggest thing for them is to keep Justin Fields healthy, because they're going all in on Justin Fields. But that's just
I was going to say that this is a top-heavy but not deep offensive line class as far as prospects that are coming out. So really, number 9 would be the spot to go and get your guy, because if everybody else is going up in the draft, I'm just saying that seems like the perfect spot to go and get the dude that's going to be protecting the dude that you'd like to keep for the rest of
you could do that and then pick up another lineman, because I don't think we want to pay Orlando Brown, and that guy just won a Super Bowl.
Bro, It's funny you said that because I thought the moment I saw that Orlando Brown possibly is on his way out, that would be a perfect get for the Chicago Bears to have not only a veteran presence, but just somebody who is supremely talented at keeping his quarterbacks from, being sacked. I'm just saying.
He can
It's
do
not
it.
the Chiefs. I'm just saying. They got the money now. They just gave up a lot of people. I mean, this is a pretty tight end heavy class. There are some phenomenal freak athletes coming out for that position. And then obviously there are going to be a plethora of other positions that need to be filled, but their receiving core is just absolutely retarded right now. I mean, you got Chase Claypool, you got what's his name that was already there? I forgot his name was
Mooney?
Darnell Mooney, and then you have now just DJ Moore, which is just like stupid. That's stupid talent. I mean, I think people are leaning that way nowadays. And if Jalen's take goes through it, they get Derrick Henry. Just shut the league down already. Just stop it. Just good Lord.
If the Chiefs fleece the Titans for Derrick Henry, I will tell you this right now. I don't know how. Like if you don't win a Super Bowl with that one, bro, you're trash.
It's over.
I'm sorry.
It's over.
I'll say it up front. That's you can't play another down of football. If you're telling me Patrick Mahomes and then the 1-2 punch of Pacheco and Derrick Henry can't get you a back-to-back Super Bowl title, just leave. Get out. You're down. You're terrible.
Mahomes will officially
legacy is gone.
To the GOAT. Just GOAT conversation right then and there. Also, last prevailing thoughts on the flip side of the trade for Chicago. Obviously, they're losers in the trade. Gave up a lot. However, there's a possibility of them. No, the Carolina team.
You said Chicago.
No. I was prefacing that.
Gotcha.
Obviously, like we talked about the Chicago side, so I'm like getting to the Carolina side. CJ Stroud on their radar now because they're not looking at Bryce Young. They're looking at CJ Stroud out of Ohio State, potentially as their future QB. Best case scenario, he pans out to be a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, was this, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, and he a year from now is one of the top QBs as far as this class is concerned, was the trade worth it? Swinging it over anybody?
I
open door,
guess
or
kind of, but like realistically, any pick that if they, like I said, if they go the QB route, any of those picks are just not going to be successful because there's nothing there. They can't get a consistent head coach.
Yeah.
They can't get a consistent coordinator. They can't get a system set up to where they can actually foster and grow a quarterback. The organization from top to bottom just needs to get nuked. I mean, like they need a new GM, new owner, all the above. I'm talking like complete press the button and nuke it from ground zero because that's where they need to go. I think the Colts are dangerously close to a similar situation because they're still reeling from the whole Andrew Luck situation from a couple of years ago. They have no idea what they're doing.
I really thought
right
they
now.
were going to be the one that pulled the trigger. I'm not going to lie. I really
they would have
it was
as well.
going to be them that took
because they're the most
one
fit
overall. Yeah.
if you're going to get a
There's
number
a
one
lot
pick.
of. Yeah.
I mean, hey, if the Bears got an offer from them and got an offer from Panthers, then Panthers' offer was pretty damn good.
I'm like four picks in the first and second round, and DJ Moore. Like what?
I didn't see a DJ
saying,
Moore
man.
on the end of their picks. You know what I mean? When I looked at the Indiana deal, so I just took the other one. I mean, come on, it's DJ Moore. Like it's, that's just hard. It's hard to see the upside for Carolina. Like even if it's whether it's CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, is it Richardson? Is it Anthony Richardson?
Anthony Richardson. Yeah.
Florida.
Okay.
The Florida QB, which I think would be a nice, in theory, would be a nice fit down there because he can run a little bit, big physical guy.
I think that would make obviously if going number one overall is a stretch, but if they were going like upside because they're not really in contention right away, you know what I'm saying? Like why not? But then again, it's the number one overall pick, so it's a completely different. Yeah, that's a lot to give up. I don't know.
Yeah, and I
just don't see it.
Just looking at their depth chart, they got nothing for this new quarterback to come in to thrive with, and I don't know if the Panthers can even become a landing spot for anybody in the future.
I don't even remember
who's
who's their top wide receiver right now. I forgot who. Even
Terrace
the other
Marshall Jr.
Oh yeah. Well,
and
he was not bad.
Smith.
I'll give him credit to he was not bad as a wide receiver, but not one you really build around. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think they're in a bad situation.
Well, like if you're going full rebuild, wouldn't 4 first/second round picks plus a? I'm just saying, we could have traded DJ Moore for picks and then just kept the train of picking people. I don't know. It's weird because I feel like this is a different landscape from like the NBA, for instance.
Yeah,
where like
their plan has to be to trade the
less
pick again.
devalued.
Like that,
this is
that
like,
has to be. You know.
Yeah, honestly, if that ends up being the case and they do kind of swing it into something a little better, makes more sense for them, fantastic. But they did give up firsts and seconds
and
for the
DJ
next
Moore.
3 years and DJ Moore.
But they could do the same to some other team, is what I'm saying. Like that has to be. You're not going to get DJ Moore back, no. But I mean, they
we'll
could.
see.
I think that has to be the move. They're going to try to fleece another team.
There'll be a team out there that's more stupid than the Panthers. Yeah, it'd be insane if they do. It sounds
dumber
if they find somebody that
Jesus.
dumb. It'll be crazy to see if they find
all of a sudden. The Colts have just obtained the first round or the first pick of the draft.
Like if the Colts get the number 1 and you see something like they send Michael Pittman and then like the next 3 years worth of picks, then it'd be like, okay, there was somebody.
You're the real stupid, okay? You're the extra stupid. You was a little stupid, the first one, but now you extra stupid,
now you
okay?
stupid.
I can't believe you taking this deal. Oh my god.
But I mean, those are fantastic points. I think that'll do it for our conversation in the NFL. Like I said, I always say it's going to be short. It ends up being basically the same amount of time as all the other ones. But anyway,
right on time. We
had fantastic conversations through this entire thing, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, that'll do it for us on Athletes Anonymous Presents the 5th Down. First and foremost, boys, where can the people find you? Starting off with you, Nolan.
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at NolanKYT, NOLANKYT.
Raja. Moving over to you, Jay. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Jalen Holston. You can find me on Instagram at ArtByJalen. And you can find me on Twitch at MochaThanos_LGG.
Heyo.
Yes, sir. And I am your other co-host, Keone McKeague. And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at K-O-Need. It's KAYOHKNEE. Also, you can check us out on the Poi and Soy Podcast, our official Instagram. So please check it out. A lot of fire content dropping for that on the daily. No, I'm just joking.
Holy shit.
It's like more often than not. So anyway, check us out. Please give
us a follow
us
share
on
it.
Instagram. Yeah, exactly. Do all the social
Tell
media
your mama,
things.
your
Anyway,
daddy, your auntie, your uncle.
thank you again for joining us for Athletes Anonymous Presents the 5th Down. As always, it has been a pleasure. It has been a joy from all of us here at Poi and Soy.
Good vibes and love, everybody.
Bang, bang.
Poor Panthers.